Great. Come on up.
I wanted to wait till everybody was done. Hi. When I was reading up on all of this over the last couple of months, one question that came up in my head was, how are they justifying that this isn't so very similar to the file sharing Napster thing, where artists aren't being paid for their work that's being distributed in a new media? How does this not fall into the same category legally? How are they justifying that, other than saying, because I don't want to?
It actually backfires right on them, that argument, because their whole case is against piracy. They make a case that people can't file share because they're not getting paid. The recording companies aren't being paid for this. So they admit that there's a certain amount of value that attaches to all these things. So the same thing happens on the internet, where they don't want their movies and TV shows downloaded and illegally file shared because they have a value. So it actually redounds against them.
But what I meant was, how are they saying that they're not doing to you what Napster was doing to the musician?
They haven't. The thing that really, they haven't justified almost anything. When they speak publicly at all, it's in very vague generalities and a lot of nitpicking and right now a lot of whining. You made a funny site about us. That's not okay. They literally have never justified, except to say we bring about the destruction of all matter. A lot of questions. I mean, a lot of writers I know who are close to the negotiating committee say, well, what's the, as one writer said, I don't know the other guy's motivation. and it's, you have to understand these people, what they're doing is so non-specific in terms of justification. They don't have a justification for that, because it is a form of piracy. But when you're on the ship, when you get to wear the cool patch and have a cutlass, you don't care if it's piracy. And the fact is, they're just following a union-breaking script. This is how we divide them, this is how we weight them out, this is how we save some money in this term, this is how we invoke force majeure, this is, they're playing all the steps. But they have no ethical or even legal recourse in most of this. They just know we have all the cards, so we can just do this. The thing they haven't figured out is, yes, they have all the cards. We're playing football. That's not that useful. Thanks.
Are there any plans to approach the advertisers? The corporations that are advertising, that are paying the money that you're not getting any of? Would it make sense, for example, every time I watch something on the abc.com website, and I'm really sorry, but I had to catch up on some Ugly Betty.
You have to ration that out now. I understand that.
Well, I'm DVRing everything now, I'm just rationing very carefully. But they make me watch all these ads to get through the 3 sections of show.
And guess who makes money from that?
Exactly. So are there any plans to approach
There's us.
Congratulations. But are there any plans to approach the advertisers?
I think so.
Or would it make sense to come from us as opposed to...
It makes sense to come from you, certainly. I think anything that's coming from the fans is going to have more impact because you're the buyers, you're the consumers. And if you let the advertisers know that you're going to stop buying their products because they are still supporting ads, buying ads on networks who are not willing to make a fair deal for the workers who provide the content that they sell their ad time for. That, I think that probably will have a greater impact than us.
And the important thing I think just to keep in mind for that is I don't think threats are necessarily the way to go, but it's important to have a constructive conversation and be positive and say these issues are important to me, and I urge you, to not advertise with companies that don't pay a fair wage to their workers. And I'd like to buy your products. I'd like to buy your products again, but I'm hesitant about that when I understand that the money is not going to support the people who create the product.